Hello, everyone. I'm Rob Smith of the In the Black Quant Edge VTF here at T3 Live, and let's take a look at what we got going here this weekend. We've got the finishing off the month coming into October, and we've got presidential debate Monday night, so all that kind of fun and shenanigans coming. We are seeing a divergence in a lot of sectors. We're also, if we take a look at the SPY here, just to start off, one of the things we'll see, as you remember, we had all this range here, just 7 days inside this range, and then we slightly take it out, but don't go up to fill the gap. So the question is, are we going to be weak enough to make the higher high and come all the way down and retake all this stuff? Because this is an important point of control. When you have this much completely within this inside bar, that's something you really wouldn't want to be reversing. We did get that inside day and up on Fed day, so we'd be watching this inside day as well. If you go back to the weekly, here, we're green on the week, so trying to maintain, here's the Brexit triangle, come down and test it, stop these guys out. So on a weekly basis, you'll see stuff like this. The question would be strong enough to stay up in here, start working back towards the highs of that outside week. If we go to the monthly, nothing, doji, nothing. So, the last few months have chopped you up a little bit. That's why, not moving. If we go to QQQ, a little bit different. Q's going to the highs, but on the daily, just at exhaustion risk, because we took out all this stuff, gap up, and then come in and fill the gap. So the question is, that just a little gap and fillage, and off we go. Can it hold? No actionable signals on either of these right now. If you go to Apple chopping them up but good, and you remember that weekly triangle looking like this. Here, just making those third higher high and then drop back in. It seemed like the end of the world, but really wasn't on Friday when they started hitting it. You might recall this thing here, and all that doing is triangling them out a bit. No actionable signals in here would be the problemo. I don't think that was inside week, was it? No, by a few cents, not an inside week. So in 60, just chopping them up a bit. Nothing new there. What we do have is coming in October. It will be an outside month, and so that's the fractal triangle you just saw there, or on the weekly. So we'll see. Outside month for the Apple. If you go to the small cappers trying to go monthly momentum hammer and still hanging around. Just maybe take a shot at the highs. You can see how we took out these 1, 2, 3, tried to come back in, close right back up on it, tried to hit them again, comes right back so far. You do take out these slight higher highs, and you got this gappage down in here to fill if it wants to pull back a little bit. But once again, watching to see how that closes out the month. TLT goes month and down, but tries to come back, and so it's been a little thin and gapping around. As you can see here, goes down in here, gaps back up, and that took care of the weekly hammer, but hard to play because it was on a gapper. So still watching that inside month stuff here to finish off. Does it stay inside month down here, or does it re-break, I should say, this week, or does it try and come back up? We'll see. If you go to SVXY, big outside month, and that's going to give you something like this. Bam, bam, tight range. Take out the highs, take out the lows, come back in. So the question is, once again, like with the S&P, how you going to take out the highs, you're going to take out the recent lows. Not sure here, but that's what we get to watch for these outside monthers. Like I said, SPY on daily. How are we going to get out of this thing? Are we going to take out this stuff, or are we going to take out this stuff? And we're right in the middle, and so watching that point of control and then trying to see if we can get a lot of these sectors to line up come October, because right now things are going every which way. If we go to the Dow Jones Diamonds, very similar, drops back in on the daily after going slight higher high, and all these days within there, the inside day and up in here. But we do have a lot of inside weeks coming in the Dow. You've got Intel, presently still inside month to the upside. A little slow and boring, and but it is what it is. And I think Intel just missed too. Intel is an inside week. So Intel is inside week here, and so potential weekly monthly combo to the upside, or it's going to negate it by coming in. You got Disney. Oh, the Diz, and how they've been suffering in there. But it is an inside week to start off this week. And you can see just how on the monthly it's just been the slow drifting death. They give them hope, give them hope, give them hope. But in the end, puke, puke, puke. So we'll see. Inside week for Disney to finish off the month. IBM Here goes inside week, and right now IBM would be inside week and monthly shooter down if they want to hit it down. If we go to Travelers, Travelers also flirting with that month and down, or is right now, and going inside or going weekly shooter to the downside potentially. So we go momentum shooter to retake that month, see if it expands this range down towards this. You can see this big bar here and stuck in there and just gets slightly outside it, but then comes in. So we'll be aware of that, but we'll get to the FAS in just a second and the financials. UTAX inside here for the Dow. Coke inside week, and we've got Pepsi with the Coke trying to do this monthly thing. And here, this is going to be interesting coming into October because Pepsi went month and down, comes back, potential rev strat up, and that's why we're watching all these kind of together with XLP, which is presently inside month and down in the defensive. So this will be an interesting finishing week for XLP. Here, and there's your inside week for XLP. Is it going to try and come back up and go to rev strat, set up the rev strat, or is it going to go down, sideways measured move? We shall see. Go the trannies. Ugh, still stuck, and you can see how tight this has been. Tried to go up, tried to go down. Still can't get out of the woods, and you got that monthly. It's just working on that inside month and up, but just couldn't really get going. As like I said, there's a lot of divergence going on and everything. You've got American Airlines on the monthly coming down, but in the daily comes into down like here, hammers back up inside day, and going to start off the week as a weekly hammer. If they want to, that would still be a higher low than that, so you can watch that weekly hammer right there. But if you got Alaska Air trying to go the other way, trying to go shooter on the weekly, and the monthly is trying to go outside month to the downside, or it negates it and goes back up. But right now, potential shooter and rev strat month down for Alaska Air. Go to Delta, a little better. Delta's still inside month, and so still looking at 39.51. Still couldn't get there, so potential 3-bar inside pattern for the monthly Delta. If we go to United Airlines setting up the monthly shooter, but starting off the week as the weekly hammer here, and there'd be 3 levels of stops off that. That would be nice. It's also starting off Monday as an inside day. And the rails, CSX still hanging tough. CSX trying to be the pillar of strength based on that inside month and up, but no additional actionable signals there right now. If we go to FedEx, FedEx says I'm a ripper, and finally goes into outside month. On the weekly takes this here, stop them out. Tries to stop them out, setting them up for down in here. He said, nope, gaparoo, and to back up. So that's helping UPS because of UPS coming up with October here. Potential rev strat month to the upside. Inside bar takes these two down, but then coming back up into it. So it's going to be an interesting finish here for UPS. Rider Systems is going to be right now 2-month inside pattern. Tried to take the inside month up, comes back in. So potential 1-bar rev strat or 2 downside, but still 2 months completely within this range, and then 3 months completely within this range. All this kind of stuff needs to resolve. And if we go to the Utes, XLU, green month for the Utes, and we were inside weekend up on a lot of things in the Utes last week. That was nice. But on the daily, you're just going to see this tight triangle business, and so how do we get out of this? Don't know. You're going to see like an EXC, all this kind of stuff. So, voila. Nothing new under the sun. So, all right. Get outside of that, we got the financials, FAS. Going inside week. So once again, we're going to take out that, or we're going to take out that using this inside week also in KRE. Yeah, another inside week as Lucy pulled the football again, and no rate hike for you. But inside week still trying to hang out, and generally tight range that brings you the inside week. Here, I mean, how are we going to get out of all this stuff? If we take a look at Bank of America. And Bank still trying to go inside month as we get through this week. So the question is it going to go up, sideways, measured move, and try and take this stuff out, or is it going to drop back in right now? Inside month in a real tight range on this thing, as you can see. Bank of America, you got this outside day, inside day. It's got to get outside of that outside day first, and looking like an inside month so far. We've got a Citicorp. Same type of deal here, going inside weak and stuck in this range. How do we get out of here? Do we take a shot, taking all these guys out or those out, and we're going to look for simultaneous breaks. We're going to see if anybody goes the same way here coming out. If you go to JP Morgan, a little bit better on the monthly here. JP Morgan trying to go momentum hammer for the month, but we're got a few days left, so we'll see how that goes. Now, Wells Fargo, God help us. We've been watching this range for a long time. Finally came up here to take a shot at it, and then not so much. Not so fast. Inside weak and down, and now momentum inside weekly shooter to the downside. So Wells Fargo potentially in a little bit more trouble here. Starting off the week as an inside day. If we go to Berkey B, as far as the FAS is concerned, this would be a potential problem here on the daily. You can see it comes up here, takes that stuff out. Now the question is to go test that stuff, because if you do, it's a weekly momentum shooter, second one inside to try and come down and test this stuff. So certainly going to be aware of that when you're watching the FAS. U.S. Bank, another one going inside on the week, and it's just almost everything over there. But if you go to OZRK, here you do have a weekly hammer, and if you can take that out, believe it or not, would re-break the inside month to the upside potentially, but we'll see. If we go to VSER hanging off the highs, but does do this, gets the slight higher high and drops back in, and that's going to cause potential weekly shooter back into this range. It wouldn't be the end of the world, but we'll pay attention to that. You've got Capital One as an inside week. Doji on the month doing nothing on that. DFS also an inside week, so we're just going to see how these go together with American Express, also an inside week. Just so you can see some of this stuff just, if we're going to fail all this stuff and drop back in, or we're going to take another shot at it. And these monthly ranges just been garbage, and as harrowing as it seems every once in a while. That's why you want to take a look at the monthly charts. Say something's doing nothing. If you go to HIG, still inside month and up, and still tries to walk up just a tad here on the inside day, but the problem's still going to be your two-month inside pattern of this thing. If we go to Progressive Flow, BGR is monthly shooter down, but going inside week here. So the question is, this going to be the bottom of the triangle inside week and try to take a shot back up there, or go and break down and try and take this stuff out? If it goes down, it's monthly shooter, and it is inside week and down, so we'll respect that. If we go to Goldman Sachs, very well-defined weekly broadening formation here. Higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low, higher high. How do we get out of this? What is this going to do? We'll watch it with the rest of them, but no actionable signal didn't stay inside week just yet. If we go to Mirror Prize, just one more. There's plenty. We'll be watching them all week to see, like I said, if we get simultaneous break, or if they're just going to pause here until we get to the new month and closer to a potential rate hike football pull. Anyway, if we go to Crude Oil, USO, even though it sells off, it's still inside month for October, and so that could be real key. If we get an inside month for crude oil in October, we're going to find out what that's going to do. You got XLE. Tries to take these highs out and backs off, and so not quite the inside week for XLE, but XOP did go inside week, and we know OIH has been underperforming there, and that's potential weekly shooter with the monthly shooter here, but we got the underlier trying to go inside. If we go to the big boys, Chever stuck in this monthly range, tries to take out some highs, tries to take out some lows. And so in the weekly, you do have an inside week coming here to see how do we get out of this. Stop some of these guys out, now go inside, or you can go down measured move, or can you take the week back to the upside? If we go to Exxon a little weaker, as you can see. And if we go to the daily, you're going to see all this business in here. Got him. Stop them out, peak, and now you got this range down in here. It's no new actionable signals. We're just going to see how this handles this range in here against everything else. CLR does go potential weekly shooter to downside here if it wants to take it out, because you want to be careful when you see something like this, the down, and then the pop them up, stop them out, and come ripping back through all this stuff, because you can stop all these guys out right here, and then the question is, you're going to be able to take that shooter down and take all that stuff out, so be aware of that. If you go to Carrizo, CRZO, it's inside week. Similar pattern there, inside week potential momentum shooter. If we go to Concho, inside week there as well. Looking like an inside month for Concho, so we'll see how that goes. FANG. Oops. There we go. Inside week for FANG. So as you can see this, once again, on the daily. What is this stuff in here? Are we down, sideways, inside week measured move and take all this stuff to the downside? Or are we going to stop all these guys out and try and go back up? We will see on either side of that inside week. LPI, little guy. Also an inside week. Murphy, MUR, also an inside week. Murphy has the potential to maybe hold on, go inside month. We'll see. If we go to NFX, also inside week. See, that's been stronger as of yet. Let's see if there's going to be any more breakdowns of this stuff or if this is a pullback within all this. And SM Energy also going inside week here, so we'll see how that goes. All right, we got in the Earl Services, you got the slob, and the slob's still struggling here and walking down. Tight daily triangle range here, 1, 2, 3 shooter and back down. So right now walking down a series like this, and it is presently monthly shooter down. If you go to Halliburton, trying to recover that monthly shooter, but you're starting off as weekly. So we'll see if that takes that out and try and continue to expand this range here. They come down, take these guys out. Now the question is, the sellers come back and press out of this range, or are they going to try and hold it? If we go to Helmerich Payne, also a potential weekly shooter, monthly shooter down if they want to hit that. If we go to WMB green on the month and trying to fight back. It's going to go potential rev strat to the downside. Inside week, goes up, comes back and opens and closes back in there. We got 3 levels of stops if they want to hit it. So rev strats on the week below 29.72. Go to the refiners, Tesoro trying to go weekly hammer, reconfirms inside month and up. Here, go to PSX, battling right there on that monthly. So the question is, going to rev strat the month by dropping back in the weekly shooter off the slight higher high to drop it back in, or can it hold and try and get out of here? If you look at the daily, you're going to see this business in here: higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low, and then you're going to see it up in here: higher highs, lower lows for your upper level triangle, to see if it can get out of that to the upside, or is it going to drop back in there. If we go to HFC goes inside week here and still struggling for the most part comparatively. You see it's trying to go that shooter back down and just keep staying weak in here, but you got an inside week to keep an eye on HFC. CWEI, this ripper finally comes up, takes out this entire range on the monthly. There's your inside month and down puker, and then right straight up and take all these guys out. So the question is going to stay strong. So whenever you see this pattern here, higher highs, lower lows, you can go back different time frames and you'll see this. Voila, right to it, and now shooter to see if that can drop back into the triangle or what it wants to do. It is green on the month, but you got that weekly shooter if they've obviously stopped everybody here out. So the question of whether they got more in the tank to go after these guys up in there. All right, if we go to XRT Retail, got potential weekly hammer. And the XRT you can see comparatively sluggish at best, but back nowhere near taking that or that out, and just middle of this range. But it is hammer, and as far as Dow Jones is concerned, you got Walmart going inside on the week. See how to get out of this range. All right, these are these, but inside weeks for the Walmart. Costco, after taking the bludgeoning, the bad part would be potential momentum shooter down. Corrective action, take the momentum shooter and more death, but on the daily tightening up like this. So the question is, what is this? just stopping all these guys out up in here for repuking. I'm going to keep walking up. No new actionable signals there. Target still a mess, and inside day after an outside day. But the main problem is these multi-months completely within this month's range, and so when we see that, we know that can be tough, and that's why you look at a daily chart like this, and you're like, this is a mess. You're going to get killed in there. So still cautious on the old target until I can take that out. Burrito CMG, and interesting week coming up here because it went inside month and up, but retraced back in there to potentially set reversal strat down next month, but for this week comes in for a potential rev strat upside. Inside bar countered with hammer, 3 sets of stops, 1, 2, 3, and that would put it back into full time frame continuity to the upside if it tries to do that. We shall see. If we go to coach the places, inside week for the purses, so they got them up in here, and they got them down here. Now, the question is going to be strong enough to be able to try and take this back up. It is red on the month, and but we'll see how that goes with the weeks. Nordstrom, interesting here. Nordstrom, been watching this triangle forever, and then you had this powerhouse Momo hammer right here, comes back in, and now not inside, but potential momentum hammer, because you have this power, and if this is corrective activity, you want to see if this hammer could take out all these levels of stops, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So I'll be definitely watching that weekly hammer if we can get some retail to firm up. If we go to DRI fighting to get out of this stuff, and a lot of eyeballs up in here, but it is fighting to take out that inside month here. So that 63.22 continues to be important here. But like I said, lots of eyeballs. You want to be careful and look for additional actionable signals. Fergie Fiesta Restaurant is still rev strat month to the upside. Inside bar opens and closes back in that range and took it out, albeit a little boring, but it is trying to get out of this stuff slowly but surely, but you do have that slight higher high. Just need to look for shorter term signals to reconfirm. If we go to Lulubell inside week and having a rough month here, so I really prefer that to the downside. To go down, sideways measured, moving really clobber them, take all these guys out. So inside week to keep an eye on in Lulu. Sketchy, just once again trying to break out of this whole range here and now below it, and just starting off the week as a rev strat day. Inside day countered with shooters if they want to give her more of the business. Tiffany's here, still looking like it closed inside month, but if some of these things get it going, you do have momentum doji hammer to try and take it up into that stuff, so we'll keep an eye on that. Ulta, after the debacles, going inside week, so the question is, have they done what they're going to do to everybody here? They gone, and now you can move it back up, but or more of the same inside week Ulta. If we go to IBB, in IBB, they were trying to throw it away, but then you go to the monthly. The monthly, now outside month, that's fractal triangle, and that's what we're looking at on the daily here. Here, higher highs, wham, lower lows, higher highs. How do we get out of all of this stuff? We had some momentum hammers, but it was on a Friday, and so oftentimes you're not going to get the buyers to step up on that Friday. You're just going to stop out the shorties, which you did, and then brings it back in. No new actionable signals there, but certainly keeping an eye on how all these things line up. Trying to get through here. They got up, pulled back in, and there was the risk of this falling back in here, but that's not what happened. They pulled back up and goes and tested the recent highs. And it's still a real mixed bag when you go through it. You got GILD still trying to come off. That was a 2-bar inside week pattern last week, and then just stalled out and goes triple inside day. And so we want to see if they can take a shot at these guys, and if you can regain this power and get measured move to the upside. If you go to Celgene, once again, this weekly stuff. Bam, 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 and then gets up here and then came all the way back and retraced the middle of the range and now just goes shooter. How do we get out of this stuff? No real actionable signal to do it just yet. BIIB, once again, this big week here, and we took that to the downside and come back in. Still trying to see if this can pick up a head of steam on the daily. Gets up, still lower highs here. So if it wants to drop back in, goes daily shooter. But keep an eye on the overall strength, because remember, we wanted to take this bar out. Did. Now the question is, can we take that side out and have this downtrend series to take out? We could use an additional actionable signal. Potentially, it would be thwart the rev strat with the hammer on the monthly and back up, but we got some time on that. If you go to Amgen a little better, and so the question is on the monthly, up, triangle them out by trying to go outside on the month. See this weekly, slight higher highs, slight lower lows, and that's going to look like this on the daily. Bam, 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 bam. All right, we got to get out of that. We don't have any actionable signals to do it. Regeneron. And Regeneron doing this on your weekly. Potential weekly momentum hammer, just like the IBB comes in, tests the middle of this triangle range, comes back up. So if we're going to take another shot at that, now you got momentum hammer to try and do it. If you go to Alexion, not as fortunate, and Alexion trying to be flirting with that RevStrat month down, but it is doji month and not a lot of month left. And I always want to be aware of that as when you're looking at things later in the month. Are these things on the move? BLCM, yes. So BLCM, no new actionable signal here. It's just walking back up to see if it can take out all these guys. All right. So if you look at your weekly, you'll see this. Like so. When you look for additional actionable signals or anything that we can find, HZNP goes inside week. Right here. So we'll see. It's nowhere near taking this or that, but we want to see if it's jailbreak one or the other, and then we can, in the sectors, and we can take additional actionable signals when it gets other. MNK trying to go weekly hammer. Looking like an inside month. But once again, a lot of that pullback, and if these things start firming up again, we'll keep it on the radar above the hammer. If we go to PBYI. PBYI taking care of business here, and remember on the weekly, tried to go inside, then tried to go RevStrat, but did not confirm it. So these breaks were real, and took it back up. Now just starting off as an inside day. If we go to Perigo still flirting with that RevStrat monster here, right here at that 95.36, up a little bit off of that, but you got a few more days on that RevStrat to the upside. SRPT, your winner, ripper, and that's why a lot of people shy away once something starts going. But oftentimes, even here, even the next day, it was fine. I mean, big moves in here, and now it's just starting off the week as an inside day. VRTX. Inside week, and you can see this a little bit weaker. If I pull this out, I'm sorry, there's inside day and inside week here. And you can see that's pulling back just within the realm of this higher series of highs and lows. So big outside week would need to get out of that. If you go to TAC, XLK gets the job done. Here's your weekly triangle up in here, which gives you the daily that looks like this. There you go. Bam, 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 bam. Now, not sure how we get out of here, but what you could do, potential monthly Momo hammer up here in the outside month up. If you go to SMH, potential monthly momentum hammer again. However, the weekly shooter here, if they want to bring it back into this range, you can see this outside bar, and you want to stay outside of that. Otherwise, you get this shooter, and you can take all that stuff out. So we'll be aware of these triangles. Faux show. If you go to Facebook, you got a few more days on the old inside month and up. Problemo is it just bumps or nougat on this. It's a grinder. And so oftentimes when you're grinding, you want to try and see if you can get it to come down into the lower part as opposed to try and bind it into the upper part of that stuff. Amazon going with highs. And Amazon, Not much to say. You triangle them out, and goes into the highs. So anytime you go to the highs and go out on the highs, you're at risk of an exhaustion risk because there's no actionable signals in force. The Gookster going inside day against the highs, and so anytime you go new highs and draw your triangle like that, you'll see it higher, lower, low, higher, high, lower, low. Bam, bam, and up in here inside day. So we'll see what that inside day brings for us. New highs or back into the try. If you go to Netflixy, Netflix trying to go rev strat day downside. Still a 2-bar pattern completely within that range. And the problem, once again, is when you get later in the month and you see something that's in a tight range for the month, it's not doing anything. You got to get out of all this stuff, and it's just not doing it. With those semiconductors, you do have Texan trying to set up the 2-bar rev strat month up if it closes here, or if we start falling apart this week, month and down. Same with analog devices, ADI. You've got NXPI going inside on the week here, but nowhere near taking this stuff or that stuff. But we'll pay attention to that. And once again, as things tighten up, you just look at the longer term and you'll see 1, 2, 3 months completely within this bar's range. That is a problem. Okay, if we go to the NVIDIA, nice grinder, but and they triangled them up, but good on the daily here. Thanks for playing. And now just sitting back up in here inside day to see if we can expand that and more. They certainly like to love her. Qualcomm triangle looking like this, and potentially setting up side-by-side momentum hammers if they can finally get out of there, but you're just stuck on this stuff on the weekly and the potential shooter back into this range. Go to Juniper Networks. Juniper. Inside month. How do we get out of this stuff? Did they take care of all these guys and now we're free to go back up into this stuff, or is it going to keep walking lower? But starting off as an inside day. Now, NOW is still monthing up and potentially weekly inside momentum hammer to reconfirm that, and daily trifecta to see if the hammers take care of business over there, because you got W day still monthly momentum hammering up for a few more days. PayPal's monthing up and then goes inside week for the potential combo. Oracle still inside month and down, and now inside week. So potential combination to the downside for Oracle. And inside weeks for STX. Here, let's see if we can get out of that stuff. Okay, all right, if we go to the XME. Should be interesting here to finish off the XME, because the XME was trying to go month and down, and now trying to come back up in rev strat within this walking them up. And so you got that monthly hammer. Remember that to start off the year, and bam. Then the inside month and up. The inside month tries to go down, but it's still walking up like that to see if we can get this thing to go rev strat month. You got gold here just sitting in this 3-month range. How do we get out of here? And so in general, question is this corrective activity before doing another ripper, or is it being distributed and then come down here? If we go to silver just about the same. You can see this. What is all this stuff up in here in the weekly? It's just slight higher high, slight lower low, and then how do we get out of this range? You go to the GDX here, you go to the monthly. See this? Took them all out here. Then is this corrective activity within this walking up? Just lack of actionable signals unless we can get that XME to go rev strat month and take care of some business, because you got X trying to do the rev strat month here too. If we go to Alcoa potentially rev strat if it wants to try and poke back up an FCX here. Once another problem here, we talk about those multi inside patterns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months completely within this month's range to try and get out of there. And it is going to start off, should I say, close the month out inside week and see how you can get out of here. But you really did try and expand slightly to the downside. The question is, can you take out this outside bar and this outside bar using this inside week. We'll see how the commods go, but like I said, we're coming into the end of the month, and that will keep things a little interesting there. If we go to the home builders, ITB is still inside month and down. The question is going to be strong enough to try and rev strat this thing back up. It might be a tall order, but that's the signal's about to exhaust. You got stuff like KBH here trying to set up the rev strat month back to the upside. You've got Pulte Home PHM still month and down, so it takes some work to get back up on that. DHI here still having some problems. It takes some to get that back up. USG potentially rev strat there on the month. And outside week here, outside week, inside, outside. So the question is this going to be the high or low here and then take a shot up in there, or is this a down, chop them up, two week pattern and measured move? We shall see what we shall see. Masco, MAS, also month and down. Let's see if that would rev strat right now. It'd be a 2-month inside pattern. If we go to the gamers, everybody going inside week. LVS, Win Resorts, MPEL and Win Would-Be. MPEL and MGM. Here, momentum hammer on the weekly a little bit stronger. And Win Resorts would also be starting the week off trying to go rev strat day. Inside day countered by hammer to see if we can go all the way up, take the week, and retake the month. So could be an interesting week over in that situations. All right, just a few more. Honeywell trying to come back up as well as rev strat month. LEG, Leggett and Platt, is presently inside month and down, potentially. Combination with the momentum shooters, 2 weeks like that. And you can see on the daily, tries to get out of here. This was still lower than that, so took care of these guys' business and then starting to move right down. So potential issues going on there. If you go to Log Me In, LOGM, inside day, inside week. Still inside month and up. They want to continue to try and power this thing. If we go to MKTX, another ripper, potentially, finally maybe going to cool off with monthly shooter, and you're starting off as an inside week. If they want to keep ripping this thing or finally bring her in a little bit. Polaris going inside week to reconfirm or negate the inside month and down. You're going to have a tough time rev strat in that, so I'd probably prefer the downside. SPWR. As the solar's getting crushed, but finally going inside week if there's any hope, or is it inside week and down into zero land? And last but not least, Tesla. Tesla trying to go momentum hammer back up on the weekly and the monthly, potentially setting up as the monthly hammer. And this is 3-month inside pattern. So on this 2-bar break down into here, wasn't weak enough to take that out and potentially hammering there. So we'll keep an eye and see how that closes to see if it can indeed finish off as a monthly hammer. But we've got a presidential debate, which I'm sure will be highly entertaining. What that does to the market, we'll see. But we're coming into the end of the month, and as you can see, there's a lot of divergence between the sectors. A lot of things need to get taken out and resolved. Certainly with that S&P, we're going to watch, see how this monthly closes out. And how do we get outside of this outside week again? We tried it on the downside. Do we try it back on the upside? How do we get through here? Do we retrace any of this point of control more down into here, or do we start popping back up and start looking like the NASDAQ has back towards the high? So that's what we're going to look at this week. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. I'm Rob Smithy in the Black Quant Edge VTF here at T3 Live, reminding you to think good thoughts, do good things, and be a good person. All right. Hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll see you on the desk Monday morning.